Global Transformation Astrology, GTA, with William Stickevers.
So the question is, when did the recession really start? So at the inceptional level, it started in October of 2023. You could actually argue the recession started when the yield curve inversion peaked in May of 2023. But then in terms of the employment numbers, GDP and all that stuff, and all those other factors, it started around the time of the eclipse. And what happened during the October eclipse 2023 is, where did the majority of the money go into? Well, people would say it went into stocks. No, it actually went into gold and Bitcoin. What are the two best performing asset classes since, right, this year to date? Bitcoin, number one. Number two, gold, not stocks, right? So I would argue when people are putting their money in Bitcoin and gold by vast amounts, they're swapping out stock, not all of it, but a lot of it, and they're moving it, and they're selling all their bonds and moving it into gold or Bitcoin. That would tell you that they believe the economy is going to get worse. That's the smart money. And then you look at other factors with the emerging Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and that would tell me that what we're going to have is more inflation, and that inflation is going to lead to what? Deflation. So we're going to have a collision of inflation, Neptune, and deflation. What's deflationary? AI. So you won't need to hire as many people. You can keep your company, but you can leverage it out. You can grow it and scale it through AI and artificial and robots. You're going to see more robots on the street helping out, right? You'll see it in every industry. So companies become more profitable by using AI, and that's deflationary, and robotics. When I say AI, I mean robotics and everything on computer systems and devices. And then inflationary has to do with the debasement of the currency, which we're going to have more and more inflation, while we have deflationary forces at a structural level colliding with this monetary debasement of the currency, because they need to keep printing and printing and printing to extend and pretend. And they need to do that to keep re-injecting money into the pension system. So at some point, someone's got to make a decision about some big things in 2026. So the economy is just going to go from recession to plausible deniability collapse, probably with a 40% drop in the stock market, which won't really mean much. 40% drop would still, at least a 40% correction. And then they'll do all this monetary stimulus and stuff to prop it up and start printing like mad. And at first, it'll provide relief, and then it'll make things much worse, because debasement is destroying the economy now. It's not liquidity or lack of it. There's plenty of liquidity. It's that all this bad money is creating a complete destruction of lifestyle due to an out of control inflation. All right, next question is, if Trump wins the presidency, how long do you think it will take for the Dems to start impeachment proceedings? Right away. They're going to try and arrest them right away. They're going to try and arrest them before that. The big issue is the Dems are going to say, we're going to invalidate the Electoral College, right? The Electoral College meets on December 19th, and according to the Constitution, and they're going to do everything they can to basically invalidate that. And then Democrats will say, come January 6th, when we meet to basically sanction and rubber stamp the Electoral College vote, we're going to what? We're going to basically nullify it, right? We're going to do a nullification. So we'll have a nullification crisis. Now, of course, this is just not all going to happen, and everyone's going to stay home this time and watch what happened on January 6th and say, a few thousand people, stormed the Capitol. They didn't really storm it. They let them in. I mean, we all saw it. I think that we're on the verge of a full-blown potential for civil war, like real millions of people getting in their trucks, coming to Washington with their guns and ammo and saying, if you nullify, we will blow, right? You cannot stop a million people. And I'll tell you something right now. You think if that happens and they have helicopters and police shooting at people, right? You think the economy is going to go fine. You're going to keep buying on Amazon. You're going to keep going and extending and pretending and running up your credit card more because you still don't have enough money, even after you swap that pension check and Social Security or whatever you do to get by every month using more and more credit. No, that will all end. Everyone will go into shutter mode. The global economy will begin to implode. The Middle East will light up like a tinderbox, right? So, you'll see everything just spin out of control. So that is a probable scenario. And that's why I tell everyone, we already know what's going to happen up till November 5th, pretty much. They can't rig this election at this point. It's getting too big. The numbers, like if Trump is ahead in Wisconsin, let's say by 1 point, you add 2.5 to that, right? Trump outperforms. So Trump was behind, for instance, in North Carolina by 10 points, and he won North Carolina in 2020. He was behind 7 points in Pennsylvania, right? And Joe Biden lost Pennsylvania that night. And then it took them 3 weeks of mail-in votes, all of them for Biden, none of them for Trump, before Biden's numbers pushed ahead of Trump's. And then he wins barely by 0.2%, very low number. But the point I want to get at is Trump overperforms. And the pollsters are being very conservative. And they're all saying, we think he's going to blow out the numbers we're seeing. So we know it's going to happen November 5th. This election will probably be over with by 11:30 at night. It'll be a big shock. But then the deep state will have to strike back. And Democrats and blue pill people, who have Trump derangement syndrome, will back the narrative that he cheated. They don't need to prove it. It's through proclamation is evidence by proclamation, not by proof. Then we'll see the potential for like a nullification of the vote, which will result in full-blown civil war. Then it's like we're in Twilight Zone. So that's a possibility. Will it happen? I won't know until we get, once Pennsylvania is confirmed a Trump win, Michigan's confirmed a Trump win. Once he's ahead in Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter if he loses the rest of the states, right? It doesn't matter if he loses Michigan. He will win Michigan, but it doesn't matter, right? The question to the deep state is, are you feeling lucky? Do you think you're going to pull this off and everyone's going to stay home, complain about it, and then go on living the way they're living, doing what they're doing, extending and pretending, and continue, right? So I think we've hit that breaking point. All right, next question is, any insight into Vance's chart? No, not so really concerned. Vance is not going to determine this election. We'll look more into that chart as we get into 2025 because there is a probability that Trump may not finish his term based on some of the indicators. Now, I don't think he'll die immediately, but I think it's possible he may not finish his term. And one thing about the Trumps, including his brother and his father, they go nonstop, 100% pedal to the metal, and then boom, they die suddenly. Out of nowhere, just die. No warning, no disease, just boom, die in the middle of working. So Trump's brother just died, like in 2020 while he was still president, unexpectedly. He was on the phone with him next day. He goes, yeah, he didn't wake up. So this is the thing. That's still possible. Any man 70 and over has an 88% chance of not making it to 80. Any woman 80 and over has an 88% chance of not making it to 90. Understand that? For men, you get it, men? Better take care of yourselves.
To watch the full presentation and more like this on geopolitics, the economy, and world events from an archetypal and mundane astrological perspective, join the Global Transformation Astrology membership. Go to gta.williamstickevers.com. Become a GTA member today.